Alright everyone, I'm here to give you my WWE NXT review for January 8th, 2015. This was a great show. Very enjoyable. I actually think this might have been better than Raw. And Raw was good too, but I just think this was better than Raw in my opinion. I thought it was great. We had Jason Albert, Rich Brennan, and Corey Graves on commentary. And it kicks right off with the return of Sami Zayn. And it was great to see him because we hadn't seen him since he won the NXT Championship. I mean, he made a little bit of a cell phone video last week, or iPod, wherever he was making it on. And but it was just good. We hadn't really seen Sami Zayn. I think this was a great idea to take him out of action because it made you really want to see him. And he comes out, and it was great to see him. He got a great reaction. And it was nice to see him, I guess, technically he had it when he won it, but it was the first time we had seen him actually with the belt. You know, it really fits him really well, I think. And, he actually, at first he just goes up with the crowd and celebrates with them. And he says that he wants to talk about the NXT Championship. He said that it usually means that you're the best wrestler right now. And he says to him it means choices, that no one can tell him what to do, no one can tell him how to wrestle. This means that he gets to make the choices. And he says it's not just his title, it's our title. And he looks at, and he said that he likes to call his fans the Zaniacs. I think that's what he said. And he said that they all play a band and they play his themes and they and they chant his theme song. And he's like, I love that song. That's my favorite song. And they even were chanting, "You deserve this," to Sami Zayn. And then he says that he's not in the best physical condition. And he even said too that he would defend the NXT Championship wherever and whenever, And he also said that when he won the NXT title, it was supposed to be the greatest night of his life. And it was, but he didn't really get to celebrate it the way he wanted to because Kevin Owens came down, and it was his blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And they were just celebrating together, and it was a real moment. And then he laid him out. And I think before he could even finish what he was going to say, Adrian Neville came out. And he pretty much congratulated Sami Zayn on the match and the winning the NXT Championship. And they shook hands. And then Sami Zayn said that, "I know why you're out here, because you are entitled to a rematch." And I think that's kind of cool that the champion put in this up, because normally the champion wouldn't bring this up. Normally the person with the rematch clause would. So I thought this was awesome stuff. And William Regal comes out and pretty much makes next week the rematch. Sami Zayn will defend his belt against Adrian Neville in the rematch, and I think that's awesome stuff. This was a great segment. I'm glad they didn't even jump to the Kevin Owens feud yet. I don't think they just I think they're just kind of moving at a slow pace with that, and I'm fine with that. I can't wait to see what they do with that feud. I expect next week Kevin Owens wasn't even on the show, but I expect next week Kevin Owens to come out after Sami Zayn wins the match and defends and retains his title, and just completely lay out Sami Zayn. I think this was awesome stuff though. And then what do we get next? Actually, I have to look at my notes real quick, my little cheat sheets. The Vaudevillains, Aiden English and Simon Goss were backstage, and they pretty much say that tonight they're going to become the brand new NXT Tag Team Champions. I thought this was a decent promo. And then Hideo Itami has a match with Curtis Axel. This was actually a pretty good match. I really was looking forward to this match, and it ended up being a solid match. And Curtis Axel pretty much dominates the entire match. He actually ended up hitting an awesome knee on Hideo Itami. And then Hideo Itami makes a comeback. And he hits like a Trouble in Paradise while Curtis Axel's on the floor for the win. And I thought that was awesome. I'm actually fine with Hideo Itami going over because he's the star that's pushing right now, and I think he's that attraction. It wouldn't really, I don't know. Like, it would make sense that Curtis Axel would win, but I'm actually fine with Hideo Itami going over because he's the newest star, and I think Curtis Axel should put him over. And I'm happy Curtis Axel. I mean, it sucks because the WWE didn't really know how they were utilized. That they had utilized him better, Curtis Axel wouldn't have to be back on NXT. But I'm happy Curtis Axel because he can work with a guy like Hideo Itami and, you know, teach him things. That would be awesome. And then Natalya and Tyson Kidd were backstage. And Tyson Kidd's listening to his headphones. So Natalya just gets interviewed. And, you know, she's mentioning Total Divas. And she's talking about how Tyson Kidd's training really hard for a match next week with Finn Balor. And then Tyson Kidd turns around and he's like, hey, why don't you go feed my cats? And Natalya's like, hey, our cats. They're our cats. And he's like, well, who's the one that eats their food with they're sick? Which I thought was funny that he said that. But then she goes to check on the cats, and Tyson Kidd said that he's overlooking Finn Balor because now he realizes that he has a chance to become NXT champion. And he said that he's going to pretty much be the biggest thing ever. He's going to be bigger than Sami Zayn. He's going to be bigger than Sarah Bosch or something. I forget what her name was. And then we get Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks with Becky Lynch ringside. Sasha Banks beats her with the Bankrupt, I think it's called. I always forget the name of a finishing submission move, and they say it all the time, but I always forget it. But she wins. The match kind of had a purpose because Sasha Banks broke Alexa Bliss's nose last match, but it was kind of really a squash. I mean, that's really all it was. Then Tyler Breeze is backstage, and he announces that he's back and from his vacation, because apparently he was taking vacation. I don't know where he really was, but he was taking a vacation, and he has a match with Chad Gable. And Chad Gable got actually a good reaction. And I was actually shocked. Normally a jobber like that doesn't get a reaction because they don't know him. But he got a reaction. I don't know if they were in his hometown or not or what. And he actually got some moves in. It was actually kind of a legit match. It wasn't a complete squash like it normally is. But he actually got some moves in. He was doing some amateur background move. He did a cross arm breaker over the ropes. He actually got some moves in. And eventually Tyler Breeze hits the beauty shot and beats him. But maybe this could be... I actually wouldn't complain if Chad Gable got a push. I actually would like to see him get a push. It would be nice, but I don't think it's going to happen. And then afterwards, when it comes back from the break, it showed a clip, and it showed somebody watching Tyler Breeze like they were stalking him from the crowd. It's Marcus Louis. I think everyone knows who it is because they had a feud before Tyler Breeze left. It's Marcus Louis. I think what's going to happen is Tyler Breeze is going to keep having matches or have backstage segments, and Marcus Louis will be stalking him. He's going to be a stalker pretty much to Tyler Breeze, and then eventually it will lead to a match. I don't really know how I feel about this because I haven't seen how it's played out yet, but once I see how it's played out, I think it should be... I think it could be good, it could be bad, so I'll give you my thoughts when I get further into it. Alright, then we get Finn Balor interview, and he says that he looked up to Tyson Kidd because they trained in the same facility. And then I think that's about it. He said, I think he pretty much says he's going to beat Tyson Kidd. I don't know why, but I completely forgot what he said. I kind of zoned out. I don't know what I was doing. I was writing his name down, and I think my phone went off because an alarm went off, so I kind of zoned out. And then the Lucha Dragon, Sin Cara, and Kalisto defended the NXT Tag Team Championships against the Vaudevillains. Great match. It was actually a pretty good main event. The Lucha Dragons take it to the Vaudevillains. They... do a wheelbarrow senton onto them, onto Simon Gosh, and then in English, Sin Cara tries to pull Sin Cara out of the... does a roll up to Sin Cara, which sends him outside the ring, and Sin Cara pulls Aiden English out of the ring. Kalisto drop kicks Simon Gosh, and then the Lucha Dragons dive on the Vaudevillains, and then eventually the Vaudevillains get the heat on Kalisto, and they try to go for multiple pinfalls, and eventually Kalisto hits a head scissors and tags in Sin Cara at the same time as he's doing the move. I thought that was awesome. And then Sin Cara gets the hot tag, and he hits the like the little head scissors move that he hit off the top rope last week onto Aiden English, and Simon, he tries to cover him, but Simon Gosh breaks up the pin, and then Kalisto takes out Simon Gosh, and then this was a sick move. I never seen this. Sin Cara hits a powerbomb, and Kalisto just does a springboard dive on the Aiden English, and Kalisto, I forget who covered. I think Kalisto covered him and got the win, and the Lucha Dragons retained the titles. But I thought this was awesome stuff. NXT was awesome this week, actually. Everything was actually pretty good. NXT is actually off to a good start. Last week's show was good. This week's show was awesome, and next week's show is actually stacked up to be a good show. We're gonna get because of next week's the big debut of when NXT goes to Wednesdays, and yeah, I think that's awesome. So I'm happy about what's happened with NXT this week. It was actually an awesome show. But that's pretty much it for my review. If you want to subscribe to me and check out my other videos, you can click on the bottom right here on the subscribe button, unless they've changed it. Yeah, you can just check out my other stuff. And I'll be back sometime this week to give you another video. So that's pretty much it, guys. See you later.